Welcome back, everybody. I recently went to an estate auction. Well, I shouldn't say that. I recently bid one online, and this box had one photo. They did not take the items out of the box, so it's sort of a mystery box, a half blind buy. And I actually paid $60 for this box. There was one tool I saw in there. I could only see part of it. I'll flash a picture on the screen. And I knew if that tool was fully intact, it was a $100 item. 60 with fees is about 70, so I figured we could go through this mystery box together. And you can tell by the intact cobwebs here that I have not gone through this box yet. So let's take a look. First up here looks like a piston ring compressor. This is a KD 2284. Looks to be in pretty good shape. Definitely used a few times, but that'll come in handy. That looks like it's probably big enough to do a full-size V8, not just like a small engine. Alright, next up, I don't know. Oh, the level. Okay. It's pretty dirty. Let me see if I can't find a name somewhere on this. Get something to wipe this down a little bit. So I did wipe it down slightly. I was able to find a name on here. It'll focus on there. There it is. W. Johnson. Looks like Newark. Never heard of a W. Johnson before. I'm guessing this is early 1900s. Alright, next up we got another piston ring compressor. This is for a small engine. Looks like another KD. Alright, next up it looks like we got a couple of these woodworking, I believe they call this a marking gauge or mortise gauge. Let's see, it looks like we have a number here. Is that 1872? I think that is a patent of 1872 on there. Let's see if we can find a name on this. So I do believe there is a name stamped in there. I don't know if it's the owner's name or if it's the actual maker's name. I'll have to look under a magnifying glass to try to figure out what that says. Now let's grab the other one out of here, as long as we're at it. This one has had the pin replaced with a nail. Now again, this may have a name on it somewhere. I'm not seeing it. Not seen any markings, but it's old enough that there might be faint enough that it's hard to see to the naked eye. So I'm thinking this one might be unmarked. Alright, next up I see something that I think I'm going to have to guess at what it is. Now, to some of you this might be obvious. You might have seen tons of these, but I have never seen whatever this is. Yeah, I don't even have a good guess on this one. Obviously something would feed into here. This would probably hold that down. Something holds down on there. It has little spikes in it. Now, I don't know if you guys ever use an app called Google Lens. There is a chance that Google Lens would tell me what this is. It basically takes a photo with your phone, and then it'll go match it against other photos in Google. I'll try that later, but yeah, I have no idea on this one. It's kind of cool, but I see almost no markings. There's a little marking right here, but I don't see anything else. This looks pretty old as well. I think we have an ashtray down here. I think it's made out of aluminum. I don't know if that's homemade, but I believe that must be an ashtray. It's more like a grease tray right now. Alright, let's take out this big guy here. It's a number 8 wood plane. It is a Stanley Bailey. Up here you can make out Stanley. The number 8 is marked back here. Sorry guys, the sun's kind of coming in behind me and probably causing some funny shadows. It does have a corrugated bottom on it. Not seen any cracks. So I know a plane like this in good working condition is worth what I paid for the entire box. It's got a ton of dust on it, but I don't think it would take that much to clean it up and get it to working order again. So for me, this is a keeper. Okay, I'm just going to pull out what I saw in the photos now that it's basically uncovered. And that's going to be this router plane. I can already see it's missing some of the tool. Let's see. So this may be a bummer. I think that says Stanley 71.5, but I feel like there's supposed to be more right here. I feel like somebody's shaved that off. I feel like it's supposed to go out, connect, have that ridge around the whole upper side, and not have half the name shaved off. So if I'm right, if that's shaved off, that's really unfortunate. Doesn't mean it won't work. I wonder why they would have done it. Obviously the cutter is also missing, but the hold down is all there. The knobs are there. They're in fairly good shape. The bottom's pretty smooth. I'm not sure how flat it is, but yeah, if I could get my hands on a cutter, it would be in working order after I cleaned it up a little bit. But yeah, I definitely didn't notice the modification. Like I said, I think it'll still work as is. So good thing this one was in there, because I think this one just had a big hit on the value. Next we have a meat grinder. Not sure I needed a meat grinder, but I had to take it to get the box. So this one here says number 2 universal something chopper. Definitely not something I'll use, but there's actually a market for these things out on places like eBay. If I can find one like it on eBay that's sold, I'll go ahead and flash the price on the screen. But came with the box, so now I guess I own a meat grinder. All right, next up is this tool. Now right off the bat, not sure what it is. It has a measuring gauge on it. It does say Stanley there, very crudely, but it does. And usually every Stanley was marked with their part number. Now I'm not seeing any markings on this particular piece. So, not sure what this is, not sure if it's a piece, if it's a complete tool, or if it just connects to another tool. Just never seen anything like that one before. So drop it in the comments if you have. Alright, next up, looks like some sort of a clamp. Number 203. That is a Stanley. Almost looks a bit like a bench dog. Like this would feed down into a hole. You'd then hook it onto the bench. So I'm gonna guess that's like a bench dog. I think there's another one in here. Yeah. So this would drop down to the hole, and then this ledge would catch the bottom of the workbench. I'm feeling confident with that guess, but could be wrong. It'll be easy enough to look up Stanley 203. All right, next we have some different braces. This looks like a ratcheting brace. And let's see there. So this is a Stanley Sweetheart, I believe. It's got the little, yep, there it is, SW. Stanley Sweetheart ratcheting brace. It's a little rough, but a little bit of work could bring it back. Not sure I've had a Stanley Sweetheart brace before. All right. Well, this is interesting. It's got basically a hole saw on it. I don't know what you'd be cutting with it, turning it by hand. There might be markings somewhere on here that I'm not seeing right away. But best guess is this is just a manual hole saw. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, looks like we have a broken brace here. Well, I mean, maybe not broken, missing the handle, the spinner handle. This one's crusty enough that if there's a name in there somewhere, I'm not sure where it is. So I don't know if I found the name or just the patent information. On the very top there, you can see some engraving, but without a better way to look at it, I can't make out what it says. I even used my magnifying glass and I couldn't make it out. But this end was kind of in the way, so I really couldn't get my head down in there. But I have a different type of magnifying glass in the house I'll use on it. All right, let's see here. We have another brace. Again, this is a ratcheting brace, I believe. So I believe this might be a Miller's Falls. It's hard to see, but can you make out the falls right there? It's very beat up around this handle, but I don't know what other tool would have falls in the name. I think that says falls right there. I could be wrong, but this one's pretty beat up. I'm not sure if it's ratcheting. It looks like it is. I think that's the type of end they have on them. All right, here's something a little bit different. Looks like a brace, but it's got a different end on it. I think I got a pretty good guess of what we have here. And that would be something for putting like a tenon onto an end of wood. It's a neat old piece. I'll have to search for a name here. Not finding the name with just a quick once over. I don't really see any place it would be hidden. So the other thing interesting about this is obviously this is removable. So I wonder if this piece came with different ends that you could do different, that you could use it for different tasks. But overall, it's a pretty cool piece. And then last thing in this box is a small hand plane. This on the surface feels very cheap. So it looks like it says Stanley. I've had a lot of Stanley block planes before. I mean, I've got dozens. But this one has real, like, I guess I would describe it as a, almost like they took a sheet of steel and it's a number 118. Like they just took a piece of steel and like bent it up to 90s on both sides. It feels very tinny. It doesn't have that same solid feeling as something like that one. And a lot of the block planes had the same sort of base to them as the bigger planes, but this one is definitely, I don't know if it's cheap. I don't know why it was made like that. And even the pieces here, they just seem to be made out of stamped steel. So maybe this is just a real affordable version of a hand plane, a little block plane. But there's a Stanley, is that 118? I think that's what that says. So this is everything that came out of that box. Now that I see it all, I don't feel so bad about paying $70 for it. I do think my hopes got dashed a little bit on this guy, although I still think it's usable. And you can buy the cutters, but it's just too bad that someone shaved the front of that thing off. But I think overall for 70 bucks, definitely got my money's worth. And that's going to be all for this one. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.